Conference championship weekend is complete. And to quickly recap it, I'm only going to recap what had relevance to the college football playoff. The Big 12 championship kicked off the day, a win for Oklahoma State, and they had a case to be one of the 4 teams in the playoff. But Baylor pulled off the upset against Oklahoma State with a goal line stand in the final minute of that game. Baylor had a big lead in that one. They were up by as many as 18, but Oklahoma State, they started to come back. They had a really good chance to win that game at the end, and they fell short, spoiling Oklahoma State's chances of being in the college football playoff. So with Oklahoma State going down in the Big 12 championship game, all Cincinnati had to do against Houston was win, and they were in. And Cincinnati, they dominated Houston just like they have dominated against every opponent they have faced this season. The SEC championship game, there was some discussion on whether or not Alabama should be in if they were to lose this game to Georgia. But I just felt like with Oklahoma State losing the Big 12 championship, I felt like no matter who won or lost that game, both Alabama and Georgia would be in. The question was going to be who would be the number 1 seed in the playoff between those 2 teams. Because the number 1 seed in the playoff was going to be decided in that game. And Alabama came out on top in dominant fashion. Bryce Young, I think, solidified the Heisman Trophy this season. So I have Alabama as the number 1 seed in this college football playoff, and they will likely choose to play at the Orange Bowl instead of the Cotton Bowl. And the final conference championship game of the night, the Big 10 championship, the task was simple for Michigan. Win and you're in. And they beat Iowa in dominant fashion. And without a doubt, Michigan is the number 2 team in this playoff, in my opinion. So with Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati winning, with Georgia losing this week to Alabama, with that being their only loss of the year, there's no drama or anticipation or suspense going into this final ranking reveal. The only question that we have going into it is how will they be seated? What will the order be? Well, I think the order is going to go Alabama 1, Michigan 2, Georgia will be 3, and Cincinnati will be 4. So in the semifinal matchups, we're going to have Alabama and Cincinnati and Michigan and Georgia. And I am going to be surprised if the order is anything different, because Alabama, with them being the number 1 team in the country, they ultimately deserve the number 1 seed. Michigan deserves to be 2 because Michigan, they have the best resume other than Alabama, in my opinion. Because Michigan, they had the conference championship in the second toughest conference in all of college football behind the SEC. They have a convincing win over Ohio State, who many thought, including myself, could be one of those few teams, if not the only team, that could slow down Alabama and or Georgia. I think the committee will put Georgia at number 3 to simply avoid the Alabama and Georgia rematch. They would rather have that happen in the national championship game compared to the semifinal. And Cincinnati will be 4 because they have, in my opinion, the lowest resume out of the 4, even though Cincinnati, they do have a win over Notre Dame, who Notre Dame will probably, in all likelihood, probably be 5 in the final playoff ranking. Although it could be Baylor, though. But either way, Notre Dame is going to be in the top 6 in this final playoff ranking. But before I wrap this up, I do want to again announce that I am hosting a Bowl Mania group this season. I will put the link to that in the comment section. I will pin it, as well as put it in the description box. So please join that. The more people that join, the funner it is. And it is confidence points. I do not know if I mentioned that already, but if you aren't sure what confidence means for Bowl Mania, it's where you pick all the games and you rank them from 1 to how many bowl games there are going to be. I believe there's 44. So 1 is least confident and 44 is the most confident. So I wanted to close out with that. Like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, whenever you happen to be watching. And until next time.